There is one reality in life, and that is death. It is the great equalizer. The rest is a distraction. What have you done to prepare for it? Do you really know where you have come from and to where you are really going? To all who come to see and hear of this documentary, let it be known that our fight is not with any group of people. Our fight is with Satan himself, who has successfully deceived the world into going astray. For it has become ever so evident that most people have no clue not only of who is God, but also who is Satan. This message of truth is a final warning to all people, to the Jewish, the Christian, the Muslim, the Hindu, the Buddhist, and even to the atheist. This is a final warning to all of humanity. If you are like most people in the world, who refuse to search and examine the truth of their religion from the very own scriptures with a clear mind, then I strongly urge you to turn away now. For this presentation is clearly not for you. It is those with the courage to accept the truth, who have the wisdom and understanding to question the clergy. You will embark on new understanding to the Torah, Gospel, and Quran, which has never been revealed before in the history of humanity, which amazingly matches the true prophecies of Enoch and Idris, and seriously exposes the false teachings of the clergy and the scholars. It is those whose names have been written in the book of life before the creation of the world that will come to accept and believe this message.
Defining Satan. When we deeply examine the following text of chapter 18 verses 1 and 3 of Secret Enoch 1. Of the taking of Enoch unto the fifth heaven. The men took me unto the fifth heaven, and placed me, and there I saw many and countless soldiers, called Grigori, of human appearance, and their size was greater than that of great giants, and their faces. And they said to me, These are the Grigori, who with their prince Satanel rejected the Lord of light. One cannot help but inquire as to the reasons for Satan and his Grigori rejecting our Lord God. And it isn't until we examine the testimony of Jesus in chapters 35 and 36 that we begin to acquire some form of understanding to the above vague text. Chapter 35, Barnabas. Jesus departed from Jerusalem and went to the desert beyond the Jordan. And his disciples that were seated round him said to Jesus, O Master, tell us how Satan fell through pride. For we have understood that he fell through disobedience, and because he always tempteth man to do evil. Jesus answered, God having created a massive earth, and having left it for 25,000 years without doing anything else, Satan, who was as it were priest and head of the angels, by the great understanding that he possessed, knew that God of that massive earth was to take 144,000 signed with the mark of prophecy, and the messenger of God, the soul of which messenger he had created 60,000 years before anything else. Therefore, being indignant, he instigated the angels, saying, Look you, one day God shall with that this earth be revered by us. Wherefore consider that we are spirit, and therefore it is not fitting so to do. The above testimony by Jesus is further testified to in the Quran, Surah 38, verses 71 to 72. And remember when your Lord said to the angels, I am going to create a human, Adam, from sounding clay, of altered black, smooth mud. So when I fashioned him and breathed into him his soul, created by me, then you fall down, prostrate to him. Moving on with chapter 35 of Barnabas. Many therefore forsook God Whereupon said God, one day when all the angels were assembled, let each one that holds me for his Lord straightway do reverence to this earth. They that love God bowed themselves, but Satan with them that were of his mind said, O Lord, we are spirit, and therefore it is not just that we should do reverence to this clay. Having said this, Satan became horrid and of fearsome look, and his followers became hideous, because for their rebellion God took away from them the beauty wherewith he had endued them in creating them. Whereat the holy angels, when lifting their heads, they saw how terrible a monster Satan had become, and his followers cast down their face to earth in fear. Then said Satan, O Lord, thou hast unjustly made me hideous, but I am content thereat, because I desire to annul all that thou shalt do. And the other devil said, Call him not Lord, O Lucifer, for thou art Lord. Then said God to the followers of Satan, Repent ye, and recognize me as God, your Creator. They answered, We repent of having done thee any reverence, for that thou art not just, but Satan is just and innocent, and he is our Lord. Then said God, Depart from me, O you cursed, for I have no mercy on you. And in his departing Satan spat upon the mass of earth, and that spittle the angel Gabriel lifted up with some earth, so that therefore now man has the navel in his belly. What is ironic, my dear brothers and sisters, is that God himself gave Satan and his angels a golden opportunity to repent. Yet they still arrogantly refused before they were expelled from the fifth heaven. As did Jesus give Satan an opportunity to repent in chapter 51 of Gospel of Barnabas. The above text about the rebellion of Satan and his hosts is consolidated by the testimony of the angels themselves in the forgotten books of Eden. But now, O Adam, we will make known to thee what came upon us through him. Before his fall from heaven, he gathered together his hosts and deceived them, promising them to give them a great kingdom, a divine nature, and other promises he had made. His hosts believed that his word was true, so they yielded to him and renounced the glory of God. He then sent for us according to the orders in which we were to come under his command, and to hearken to his vain promise. But we would not, and we took not his advice. Then after he had fought with God, and had dealt foully with him, he gathered together his hosts and made war with us. And if it had not been for God's strength that was with us, we could not have prevailed against him to hurl him from heaven. But when he fell from among us, there was a great joy in heaven because of his going down from us. For had he continued in heaven, nothing, not even one angel, would have remained here. But God in his mercy drove him from among us to this dark earth, for he had become dark itself and a work of unrighteousness. The above truth is further authenticated, my dear brothers and sisters, in Secret Enoch 1, chapter 29. And one from out of the order of angels, having turned away with the order that was under him, conceived an impossible thought, to place his throne higher than the clouds above the earth, that he might become equal in rank to my power. And I threw him out from the heights with his angels, and he was flying in the air continuously above the bottomless. The above prophecies, my dear brothers and sisters, is further cemented by the prophecy of Jesus in Revelations 12 verse 9. The great dragon was hurled down, the ancient serpent called the devil or Satan. He leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Secret Book of Enoch, chapter 31. The devil is the evil spirit of the lower places. As a fugitive, he made Satana from the heavens, as his name was Sataniel. Thus he became different from the angels. But his nature did not change, his intelligence as far as his understanding of righteous and sinful things. Satan or Diana, Santaniel the impious one, Satan in Hebrew means the adversary, referring here to the lead adversary, or Lucifer. From the above text, my dear brothers and sisters, we can ascertain that Satan and his angels, who were from an order of angels called Gurgori, as we read earlier in chapter 18, verses 1 and 3 of Secret Enoch, did in fact become different from the angels, as attested to in the Quran, Surah 18, verse 50. We said to the angels, fall prostrate before Adam. They fell prostrate except Satan. He became a jinn, for he disobeyed the order of his Lord. Will you choose him and his descendants as lords instead of me, even though they are your enemies? What a miserable substitute. When we look for the dictionary meaning of jinn, this is what we find. Examples: word origin, noun, plural, jinns, especially collectively. Jinn, Islamic mythology. Any of a class of spirits lower than the angels, capable of appearing in human and animal forms and influencing humankind for either good or evil. The above clarification will go a long way in exposing the deception of the many false deities that have and continue to be worshipped in our lost world today, such as the many saints and the millions of Hindu gods who appear in both human and animal form and perform miracles in order to deceive mankind.